You know, in a world of giants, of sprawling empires and global superpowers, the key to it all might just lie right here, in this sun-scorched nation smaller than the state of New Jersey. This is a place where the currents of global trade and the tides of global power literally collide. This is Djibouti. And trust me, its story is going to change the way you look at the world map.
Right here on this tiny stretch of coastline, the world's great powers aren't just rivals on some distant map, they are literal neighbors. You've got the United States' only permanent base in Africa, and it's just a stone's throw from China's very first overseas military outpost. Now add France, Japan, and Italy to that list, and you have what sounds like a geopolitical powder keg, with everyone living in unbelievably close quarters.
I mean, it just doesn't seem to make sense, right? It's a geopolitical puzzle box where global rivals are operating side by side. So the real question isn't just why they're all here, but how this one small nation managed to convince them all to come. To figure that out, well, we have to dig a little deeper.
The secret to Djibouti's power, it's not found in armies or economies, but in the earth itself. The whole story really begins with geography, because in the game of global power, where you are on the map is everything. And Djibouti's location is, and I'm not exaggerating here, one of the most critical on the entire planet. They call it the Bab el-Mandeb, which means the Gate of Tears. And wow, what a fitting name for one of the world's most vital and vulnerable choke points. Every single ship that passes between Europe and Asia through the Suez Canal has to funnel through this narrow strait. So to have influence here isn't just strategic, it's like having your hand on the very pulse of the global economy. But Djibouti's power doesn't just come from the sea. The land itself is a world of violent extremes. We're not talking about a gentle landscape here. This is a place that was forged in the planet's raw primordial fire. Just try to imagine the colossal forces we're talking about. You have three tectonic plates, the African, Somali, and Arabian, all grinding against each other, literally tearing the continent apart. This makes it one of the most volcanically active places on Earth, a landscape that's in a constant state of violent creation. And all of that geologic turmoil leads to a landscape of extremes. This is Lake Assal, a crater lake shimmering a staggering 155 meters below sea level. That's the lowest point in all of Africa. It's 10 times saltier than the ocean, a stark, almost alien world, and a real testament to the powerful forces that shape this land. And okay, this is where it all starts to click. This violent geology, all that fire and salt, ended up carving out a perfect sheltered coastline, a natural harbor sitting right next to one of the world's most critical shipping lanes. It was basically a geographic lottery ticket, and it was about to pay off big time. Now, long before the age of superpowers and giant shipping containers, this coastline was a coveted prize. For thousands of years, it served as a crossroads of empires, a place where history was written, traded, and definitely fought over. I mean, the story reaches way back into antiquity. For the ancient Egyptians, it was the mythical land of Punt, a source of incense and gold. Mighty Islamic sultanates rose and fell here, controlling huge trade networks. Then came the Age of Steam, and with it, the French, who set up a vital colonial port. Finally, in 1977, independence. But through every single era, the one constant was this: power has always been drawn to this coast. And all that power, well, it bred some pretty serious ambition. Back in the 14th century, a local ruler, Sabr ad-Din, declared his plan to conquer all of Ethiopia and, quote, transform the churches into mosques. It's just a dramatic reminder that this has never been some quiet backwater, but a crucible of conflict and empire. But, okay, empires and armies are one thing. What about the people who have actually survived and thrived for centuries in this harsh strategic crossroads? Who are they? Modern Djibouti is essentially woven from two main threads: the Somali people, who make up the majority, and the Afar. Both are peoples with incredibly deep nomadic roots. Their cultures shaped by this unforgiving landscape and a long shared history of trade and survival. Both of these groups have these rich, ancient traditions. The Somalis are masters of a complex oral poetry known as gabai. The Afar honor the Ganili, a figure who is both warrior and poet. So you have two distinct cultures, each with a fierce sense of identity, bound together by this one small patch of earth. And this part is key. For generations, Djibouti's survival has depended on maintaining a very delicate internal balancing act between these two proud peoples. It's a skill they've honed over centuries, and one they have now masterfully scaled up to the world stage.
Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started. With the geography, the history, and the people all in place, we can finally understand Djibouti's incredibly audacious 21st century strategy, how it became the world's superpower landlord.
The strategy is as simple as it is brilliant. It's called strategic leasing. Djibouti has turned itself into the world's most exclusive landlord. It uses its priceless location and a carefully guarded neutrality to rent out pieces of its own sovereign territory to any global power that needs a foothold and can pay the price.
And believe me, the rent is not cheap. The United States pays over $63 million a year to lease Camp Lemonnier, which is the critical nerve center for its counterterrorism operations across 2 continents. Meanwhile, just a few miles down the road, their biggest rival, China, pays an estimated $20 million a year for its own naval base, a crucial piece in its global strategy. You see, Djibouti isn't picking sides. It's cashing checks from everyone.
And the payoff is immense. The port is an economic lifeline for landlocked Ethiopia. The bases give it a totally unique military significance. I mean, it's the only country on Earth to host both Japanese and Chinese military bases. And all that rent money, it provides a massive boost to the national economy, accounting for a huge percentage of its GDP.
So when you look at the big picture, the story of Djibouti is really one of brilliant adaptation. From being the land of Punt trading with pharaohs to a 21st century port hosting drones and warships, its people have always understood a fundamental truth. Their greatest resource was never gold or oil. It was, and it still is, their place on the map. It's an absolute masterclass in survival for a small nation surrounded by giants. But it does leave us with one critical, lingering question. When you invite the world's most powerful rivals to all live together in your house, can the landlord ever truly be the one in charge?